From a flicker of candlelight in 1789 to the glare of modern screens in the West Wing, every president has held the pen. Executive orders not passed by Congress, but etched into law by command. Some shaped history. Some sparked controversy. Others were forgotten. Until now. This is where we break them down. Every signature, every shift in power, every consequence still felt today. From Washington to Biden, welcome to Executive Order Watch.
Democracy, we live for it. For democracy, we fight for it. For democracy, we've died for it. And for democracy, we watch it. This is Executive Order
Truth
Watch.
seekers, patriots, students of history. Welcome back to another transmission from the crossroads of time and consequence. This is E. Millions Williams reporting for Democracy, where we dig through the dust of forgotten orders, uncover hidden truths, and bring the past back into focus to guide our future. Now listen. Normally, I'd say we have a straight line to President Biden, ready to give us context and clarity from the present. But today, something wild happened. Our transmission line didn't go forward. It went backward. Way back. All the way to 1953. Yeah, you heard me right. President Biden isn't with us in 2025 right now. Somehow. He's stuck in the post-war haze of the Eisenhower transition. The Korean War's barely cooling, the Cold War's heating up, and a tidal wave of executive orders is shaping the modern security state. But don't worry. He's still got his voice. He's still got his insight. And he's still got that Biden fire, even if the backdrop is black and white television, segregated lunch counters, and the atomic age rising like steam from a testing site in Nevada. So without further delay, we turn the dials of destiny, tune the frequencies of fate, and check in with the President of the United States, live from the year of Elvis Presley's first single and executive order, 10,450. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you President Joe Biden, stuck in 1953, but speaking to us now.
Folks, it's good to see you, wherever and whenever you may be tuning in from. Right now, I'm speaking to you from the year 1953. And let me tell you, this isn't just a year on the calendar. This is a turning point, a crossroads, a moment where the direction of America, our values, our strength, and our leadership was once again being tested. See, just months ago in 1952, the American people made a clear and powerful decision. After years of war, uncertainty, and global tension, they wanted a steady hand, a proven leader, someone who didn't just talk about strength, he lived it. And that's exactly what they got. The man who stepped forward wasn't a career politician. He wasn't a man of many speeches, but he was a man of action, a man who led the Allied forces in Europe, brought down tyranny, and helped liberate a continent. Dwight David Eisenhower. Ike, I like Ike. You saw it on buttons, on signs, on every street corner across this country. But what it really meant was trust. The people trusted him to guide them through a Cold War that was getting colder by the day. They trusted him to end the Korean War, to protect freedom abroad and defend liberty at home. It wasn't easy. The election of '52 came with doubt, division, and the weight of a nation still recovering from World War and now tangled in a new kind of conflict, ideological, technological, and existential. But Ike didn't flinch. He faced it all with calm resolve. And that's why we're here today, to hear from the man who stepped out of the battlefield and into the Oval Office, the man who began reshaping America for the atomic age, the man who made decisions that still echo in our national conscience. So I ask you now, pause, listen, and learn from the President of the United States in the year 1953. Ladies and gentlemen, General of the Army, Commander of the Allied Expeditionary Force, and 34th President of the United States, Dwight D. Eisenhower.
Thank you, Mr. President, and thank you to those watching across time for taking the moment to reflect on where we've been and where we might be going. My name is Dwight David Eisenhower. Some know me as Ike. Before I stood here as the 34th President of the United States, I wore the uniform of a soldier. I served this nation through 2 world wars. I commanded the Allied Expeditionary Force during the Second World War, the largest military alliance in history. We landed on the beaches of Normandy. We stared tyranny in the face, and we won. I never sought political office. But when the people called, I listened. In 1952, Americans were tired of war in Korea, tired of Washington scandals, tired of inflation, fear, and foreign entanglements. They wanted strength without arrogance, peace through preparedness. They wanted integrity back in the White House. I didn't run to be a politician. I ran to be a servant of the people. And so, on January 20th, 1953, I took the oath of office. From that very first day, my mission has been clear: protect liberty, restore trust, and keep America safe in a dangerous and divided world. Now, 1953 has not been an easy year. We've seen fire and ice in Korea. We've buried sons who never returned from war. We've faced down the specter of communism, not just abroad, but here at home, where suspicion too often replaces truth. We lost a giant. Joseph Stalin died in March, and with his death came both uncertainty and opportunity. Will the Soviet Union shift course or double down on control? That remains to be seen. In Iran, the CIA assisted in the toppling of a government to protect Western oil interests. In Indochina, the French are faltering, and America stands on the edge of a future conflict most cannot yet see. At home, I inherited a federal government bloated by wartime expansion. I aim to cut unnecessary spending, end the war in Korea, and invest in America's infrastructure, because roads, bridges, and schools matter just as much as bombs and battleships. And as for how I've been depicted in film, well, I've never been one to chase the spotlight. But Hollywood has its way of turning generals into legends. You may have seen The Longest Day or Ike, Countdown to D-Day. They tell part of the story, but no film can capture the weight of command, the responsibility of sending men into harm's way, or the burden of peace. My motives, they're plain. I want a strong America, an America at peace, an America that doesn't bully the world, but leads it, with courage, decency, and example. I believe in the middle way, not the extremes of left or right. I believe in balancing budgets, strengthening our defenses, desegregating our institutions, and reminding every American that this republic belongs to all of us, black or white, rich or poor, rural or urban. History will judge what we've done this year. But as I speak to you from 1953, know this: I lead not out of ambition, but duty, not for glory, but for the good of the nation. Thank you, God bless you, and may God bless the United States of America. Executive Order 10,432, establishing the President's Advisory Committee on Government Organization on January 29, 1953. Executive Order 10,433, further providing for the administration of the Defense Production Act of 1950, as amended on February 6, 1953. Executive Order 10,434, suspension of wage and salary controls under the Defense Production Act of 1950, as amended on February 10, 1953. Executive Order 10,435, inspection of income, excess profits, declared value, excess profits, capital stock, estate, and gift tax returns by the Senate Committee on Government Operations on February 10, 1953. Executive Order 10,436, reserving Kahulawe Island, territory of Hawaii, for the use of the United States for naval purposes and placing it under the jurisdiction of the Secretary of the Navy on February 25, 1953. Executive Order 10,437, designating the Honorable Benjamin Ortiz to act, under certain circumstances, as Judge of the United States District Court for the District of Puerto Rico. During the year 1953, on February 25, 1953, Executive Order 10,438 transferring certain functions of the National Security Resources Board and of the chairman thereof to the Director of Defense Mobilization on March 17, 1953. Executive Order 10,439 amendment of Executive Order number 10,163 of September 25, 1950, establishing the Armed Forces Reserve Medal on March 20, 1953, Executive Order 10,440, Amendment of Civil Service Rule 6 on April 2, 1953, Executive Order 10,441, continuing in effect. Certain appointments as officers and warrant officers of the Army and the Air Force on April 2, 1953, Executive Order 10,442, Inspection of Income, Excess Profits, Declared Value, Excess Profits, Capital Stock, Estate, and Gift Tax Returns by the Senate Committee on Interstate and Foreign Commerce on April 2, 1953. Executive Order 10,443, suspension of the 8-hour law as to laborers and mechanics employed by the Atomic Energy Commission on Public Work, essential to the national defense on April 9, 1953. Executive Order 10,444, amendment of Executive Order number 8,809 of June 28, 1941, establishing the Good Conduct Medal as amended by Executive Order number 9,323 of March 31, 1943 on April 14, 1953, Executive Order 10,445, reserving certain lands acquired under Title III of the Bankhead-Jones Farm Tenant Act as parts of national forests on April 14, 1953. Executive Order 10,446, specification of laws, from which the escapee program administered by the Department of State shall be exempt on April 18, 1953. Executive Order 10,447, inspection of returns by Senate Committee on the Judiciary on April 24, 1953. Executive Order 10,448, establishing the National Defense Service Medal on April 24, 1953. Executive Order 10,449, creating an emergency board to investigate a dispute between the New York, Chicago, and St. Louis Railroad Company and certain of its employees on April 28, 1953. Executive Order 10,450, security requirements for government employment on April 29, 1953. Executive Order 10,451, inspection of certain returns by the Committee on the Judiciary, House of Representatives on May 1, 1953. Executive Order 10,452, providing for the performance by the Chairman of the Civil Service Commission of certain functions relating to personnel management on May 5, 1953. Executive Order 10,453, restoring certain lands, comprising portions of the Fort Ruger Military Reservation, to the jurisdiction of the Territory of Hawaii on May 20, 1953. Executive Order 10,454, restoring certain lands of the Schofield Barracks Military Reservation to the jurisdiction of the Territory of Hawaii on May 20, 1953. Executive Order 10,455, inspection of income, excess profits, declared value, excess profits, capital stock, estate, and gift tax returns by the Committee on Government Operations, House of Representatives on May 26, 1953. Executive Order 10,456, delegating to Secretary of Defense and the Director of Defense Mobilization certain functions relating to critical defense housing areas on May 29, 1953. Executive Order 10,457, designating the Department of Justice as a defense agency for certain purposes on May 29, 1953. Executive Order 10,458, providing for the administration of certain foreign aid programs and related activities on June 3, 1953. Executive Order 10,459, amendment of Executive Order number 10,422, of January 9, 1953, prescribing procedures for making available to the Secretary General of the United Nations certain information concerning United States citizens employed or being considered for employment on the Secretariat of the United Nations on June 4, 1953, Executive Order 10,460, providing for the performance by the Director of Defense Mobilization of certain functions relating to telecommunications on June 19, 1953, Executive Order 10,461, delegating and transferring certain functions and affairs to the Office of Defense Mobilization provided for in Reorganization Plan Number 3 of 1953 on June 19, 1953.
Executive Order 10,462, delegation of certain functions of the President to the Housing and Home Finance Administrator on June 24, 1953. Executive Order 10,463, amendment of Section 6.4 of Civil Service Rule 6 on June 26, 1953. Executive Order 10,464, delegation of functions of the President respecting the transfer of wheat to Pakistan on June 27, 1953. Executive Order 10,465, suspension of certain provisions of the Officer Personnel Act of 1947, as amended, which relate to officers of the Marine Corps on July 2, 1953. Executive Order 10,466, continuing in effect. Certain appointments as commissioned officers and warrant officers of the Army and of the Air Force on July 2, 1953. Executive Order 10,467, further providing for the administration of the Defense Production Act of 1950, as amended on July 2, 1953. Executive Order 10,468, appointment of William C. Strand, Director, Office of Territories, Department of the Interior, as Administrator of the Puerto Rico Reconstruction Administration on July 9, 1953. Executive Order 10,469, amending the Selective Service Regulations on July 15, 1953. Executive Order 10,470, amending Executive Order Number 10,408, transferring the administration of a certain portion of the trust territory of the Pacific Islands from the Secretary of the Interior to the Secretary of the Navy on July 21, 1953. Executive Order 10,471, authorizing the heads of departments and agencies to grant leaves of absence to certain persons on July 21, 1953. Executive Order 10,472, establishing the National Agricultural Advisory Commission on July 22, 1953. Executive Order 10,473, amendment of the Foreign Service Regulations relating to United States Foreign Service fees on July 24, 1953. Executive Order 10,474. The Honorable Robert A. Taft on August 1, 1953. Executive Order 10,475, administration of the Housing and Rent Act of 1947, as amended on August 4, 1953. Executive Order 10,476, administration of foreign aid and foreign information functions on August 4, 1953. Executive Order 10,477, authorizing the Director of the United States Information Agency to exercise certain authority available by law to the Secretary of State and the Director of the Foreign Operations Administration on August 4, 1953. Executive Order 10,478, delegating to the Secretary of Defense the authority of the President to order certain members of reserve components of the armed forces into active federal service and to prescribe regulations governing the appointment, reappointment, and promotion of such members on August 7, 1953. Executive Order 10,479, establishing the Government Contract Committee on August 18, 1953. Executive Order 10,480, further providing for the administration of the Defense Mobilization Program on August 20, 1953. Executive Order 10,481, designation of certain officers of the Department of Agriculture to act as Secretary of Agriculture on August 20, 1953. Executive Order 10,482, providing for an additional member of the Government Contract Committee on August 20th, 1953. Executive Order 10,483, establishing the Operations Coordinating Board.
On September 5, 1953, Executive Order 10,484, providing for the administration of the President's Management Improvement Fund. On September 9, 1953, Executive Order 10,485, providing for the performance of certain functions heretofore performed by the President with respect to electric power and natural gas facilities located on the borders of the United States. On September 9, 1953, Executive Order 10,486, providing for the establishment of the Advisory Committee on Government Housing Policies and Programs. On September 17, 1953, Executive Order 10,487, providing for the administration of the Refugee Relief Act of 1953. On September 22, 1953, Executive Order 10,488, providing for the issuance of regulations governing the purchase, custody, transfer, or sale of foreign exchange by the United States. On September 25, 1953, Executive Order 10,489, providing for the administration of certain loan and loan guarantee functions under the Defense Production Act of 1950, as amended on September 29, 1953, Executive Order 10,490, creating a Board of Inquiry to report on certain labor disputes affecting the maritime industry of the United States. On October 2, 1953, Executive Order 10,491, amendment of Executive Order number 10,450 of April 27, 1953, relating to security requirements for government employment. On October 16, 1953.
Executive Order 10,492, establishing a seal for the National Advisory Committee for Aeronautics on October 16, 1953. Executive Order 10,493, delegating certain functions of the President to the Administrator of the Small Business Administration on October 16, 1953. Executive Order 10,494, disposition of functions remaining under Title IV of the Defense Production Act on October 16, 1953. Executive Order 10,495, prescribing the order of succession of officers to act as Secretary of Defense, Secretary of the Army, Secretary of the Navy, and Secretary of the Air Force on October 16, 1953. Executive Order 10,496, restoring certain lands reserved for military purposes to the jurisdiction of the Territory of Hawaii on October 16, 1953. Executive Order 10,497, amendment of the regulations relating to commissioned officers and employees of the Public Health Service on October 29, 1953. Executive Order 10,498, delegating to the Secretaries of the Military Departments and the Secretary of the Treasury certain authority vested in the President by the Uniform Code of Military Justice on November 6, 1953. Executive Order 10,499, delegating functions conferred upon the President by Section 8 of the Uniformed Services Contingency Option Act of 1953 on November 6, 1953. Executive Order 10,500, designation of the power authority of the State of New York and establishment of the United States section of the St. Lawrence Seaway. Lawrence River Joint Board of Engineers on November 6, 1953. Executive Order 10,501, safeguarding official information in the interests of the defense of the United States on November 10, 1953. Executive Order 10,502, suspending certain statutory provisions relating to employment in the Canal Zone on December 3, 1953. Executive Order 10,503, amendment of Executive Order No. 10,011, as amended, authorizing the Secretary of State to exercise certain powers of the President with respect to the granting of allowances and allotments to on December 3, 1953. Executive Order 10,504,
transferring certain functions, powers, and duties to the Small Business Administration on December 3, 1953. Executive Order 10,505, amending the Selective Service Regulations on December 16, 1953. Executive Order 10,506, delegating certain functions of the President under the Public Health Service Act on December 16, 1953. Executive Order 10,507, further amendment of Executive Order Number 9,805, prescribing regulations governing payment of certain travel and transportation expenses on December 16, 1953. Executive Order 10,508, excusing federal employees from duty. 1/2 day on December 24, 1953, and 1/2 day on December 31, 1953, on December 16, 1953. Executive Order 10,509, creating an emergency board to investigate a dispute between the Railway Express Agency, INCI, and certain of its employees on December 18, 1953. Executive Order 10,510, establishing a seal for the Department of Health, Education, and Welfare on December 19, 1953.
Pauline's Pizza, where we
Good
deliver
evening.
happiness one slice at a time. What's your craving today?
Yeah, hi. Is Seymour there?
Oh, Seymour. I think he might be busy making our special pies. But hey, why not swing by the pizzeria? We've got a pie with your name on it. Anything else I can help you with?
I was looking for Seymour Butts.
Ah, I see. Well, if you're looking for Seymour Butts, he might be hiding behind a pepperoni slice. Anything else I can do for you today?
No, that's it.
Hi, I'm Terrence, a marketing professional with a passion for helping your business grow smarter and faster. Here at Da Bomb Digital Media, based right here in Atlanta, Georgia, we specialize in bringing your vision to life. Whether you're launching your first website or reimagining your entire digital presence, we've got you covered. From modern website design and search engine optimization to setting up your own AI-powered agency tools, we deliver innovative solutions that keep you ahead of the curve. Ready to unlock your business's full potential? Let's build something remarkable together. For more information, visit our YouTube channel. Just search Da Bomb Digital Media on YouTube and start exploring tips, success stories, and everything you need to elevate your brand.
1953.
Good evening, my fellow Americans. Tonight we take a step back in time, back to 1953, a year of transition, decision, and quiet strength. Dwight D. Eisenhower had just taken the oath of office, bringing with him a seasoned military mind and a calm sense of duty. The world was still catching its breath from the Second World War, and the Cold War's chill was settling in fast. But 1953 wasn't just a year of tension, it was a year of action. And some of the most lasting actions were carried out through executive orders, those swift instruments of presidential will that shape our laws, our workforce, and our place in the world. Let me walk you through 10 of the most consequential executive orders issued that year and the major events that defined that pivotal time. Executive Order 10,450, April 27, 1953. This order reshaped federal employment policy by implementing a security screening process. It defined security risks so broadly, it led to thousands losing their jobs, many unjustly. It particularly targeted those suspected of homosexuality, marking one of the darker chapters in our civil liberties history. But we remember it today to ensure we do better. Executive Order 10,479, August 18, 1953. This order established the Government Contract Committee, which required all government contracts to include non-discrimination clauses. It was one of the earliest federal steps toward civil rights in the workplace. Executive Order 10,501, November 10, 1953, aimed at safeguarding classified information. This order introduced a broad system of secrecy. It laid the groundwork for how government documents are still protected today, both for national security and sometimes, to a fault, secrecy. Executive Order 10,476, August 4, 1953. This transferred information functions to the United States Information Agency, empowering America's voice abroad. Propaganda became policy and part of the Cold War strategy. Executive Order 10,494, October 16, 1953. This addressed remaining functions under the Defense Production Act, keeping America ready for industrial mobilization. It reflected the perpetual tension of the Cold War, peace at home, but readiness for war. Executive Order 10,506, December 16, 1953, delegated health authority under the Public Health Service Act. This expanded federal readiness for medical crises, an idea that resonates more than ever in a post-COVID world. Executive Order 10,484, September 9, 1953, created the President's Management Improvement Fund, part of a larger strategy to bring wartime efficiency to peacetime governance. Good government isn't glamorous, but it matters. Executive Order 10,500, November 6, 1953. This designated the power authority of the state of New York and laid the groundwork for the St. Lawrence Seaway Project, a critical infrastructure project that fueled trade and clean energy. It's a reminder that America builds, and when we build smart, we all benefit. Executive Order 10,492, October 16, 1953, established the official seal for the National Advisory Committee for Aeronautics. Sounds small, but this agency would later become NASA. The space race had a quiet beginning in 1953. Executive Order 10,508, December 16, 1953. A simple yet powerful gesture granting federal workers a half-day off on Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve. Even amidst complexity, we made room for humanity. Now let's step beyond the walls of the White House and remember what else defined 1953. The Korean War armistice was signed in July, ending open conflict, though never technically ending the war. Watson and Crick discovered the DNA double helix, ushering in the age of genetic science. Stalin died, changing the balance of power in the Soviet Union and casting ripples through global politics. A devastating tornado in Waco, Texas, reminded us of the force of nature and the need to respond better in times of crisis. Hollywood blacklisting intensified, a symptom of McCarthyism and fear overruling freedom. Queen Elizabeth II was crowned, signaling a new generation of global leadership. And in Memphis, a young Elvis Presley walked into Sun Records. 1953 was a year of strength and strain, a year of ending wars and starting new battles against discrimination, against secrecy, against fear. We study these orders and these events not to admire or condemn from afar, but to remember the weight of the presidency and the people whose lives are shaped by every signature. Let us learn, let us grow, and let us ensure that when we write our chapter, it's one we can be proud of.
Some write history with blood, some with laws, but the sharpest stroke comes from the pen. Executive power ain't just a tool, it's a weapon wielded by the few, affecting the many. They sign it, we live it. They order it, we obey it. Here, watching, digging, remembering, from the plantation to the proclamation, from internment camps to civil rights stands, from surveillance laws to student loan draws. Order can change your life, and you might not even know it, but now you do. So stay locked in, stay woke, stay sharp. We ain't just talking about power, we tracking it. Executive Order Watch, and we ain't blinking.